Hello class, good day. I welcome you to English language course. This is English language course, and for this course, we'll be having 10 different modules, which implies that we'll be having 10 different videos like this. And this is the first module for the course English language. So we know everything has its history. So every language has their history. So as English language. So and for this module, the module one, we'll be looking at English language and its history. That is the history of English language. And for the module, we have these contents. We have the meaning of language. We have the features of language, the functions of language, the history of English language, the phases of English language also. So moving on, we have the introductory part where we have language as a complex system of communication that enables humans to convey meaning and express thoughts. Its functions include communication, expression, social bonding, information sharing, and creative expression. These are the functions of language that we have. We have the history of English language dated back to proto-languages, which evolves over time through various stages and is influenced by cultural exchanges. So the English language, with its roots in Old English, has been able to borrow from numerous languages such as the French, the German, and the likes, and it has become a global lingua franca that is used in international communication, business, science, and technology. So moving on, we have the meaning of language, and meaning of language we have language is peculiar to human beings, which means it is only human beings that use language to communicate. However, language is dynamic and systematic in nature, so it is symbolic and it is creative. Language has been used by poets and authors to write down their masterpieces. Language can also be defined as a non-instruct method of communicating of ideas, feelings, and expression. So I'm moving on to the features of languages. Now we have language is systematic in nature. Language is system because everything that has to do with language is organized. Yes, we can say language, or the other way we can say language is organized in nature. We have language is symbolic as one of the features again. It involves sounds. So language is dynamic. This simply means that language changes, that language is not stagnant. There is involvement in language. So we have language is creative as another features. Language can be used to create imaginary stories, mislead, exaggerate, or even used to tell a complete lie. Language can be used to create things, different stories, different assumptions, and different imaginary work. Um, Furthermore, we have language is communal. That is, it's only human that uses language. Language is designed for a particular community. So let's look at the functions of language. Language is used for gathering of information. That's one of the functions of language. It is used to gather information. A language is also used for fraternal communion. Language is used for ritual and ceremony. Yes, it is important to know that language is very essential when we are talking about ritual and ceremony. So language is used to express action. It is language that we use to express our actions. Language is also used for keeping records. Most records that we have these days are used through language. Are recorded through, with languages, whether English or Germanic or French or Portuguese or any other languages. Language, in short, is used to keep records of events or happenings. So now moving on, we have the history of English language. English is a member of Germanic branch of the Indo-European family of language, that is, which is a large family of languages spoke from South Asia to Western Europe and the United States, comprising the Slavonic, Germanic, Indo-Iranian, Celtic, Greek, Albanian, Armenian, and Tocharian branches. So moving on, we have talking about the phases of the history of English language. We have the Old English, which dated from 449 AD to 1100 AD. So Old English, it is also known as the Anglo-Saxon. It represents the earliest stage of the English language, spoken from approximately the mid-5th century to the late 11th century. This period began with the arrival of Germanic tribes, the Anglo-Saxons, and Jutes in Britain, who brought their languages, which gradually blended and evolved into Old English. For instance, for example, in Old English, word like 15 are spelled as 15, FIFTYN. So words like upon are also spelled as upan. We have UPPAN. So that is in the Old English, which dated from 449 AD to 1100 AD. So moving on, we have the Middle English. The Middle English dated from 1000 AD, that is the 1000 to 1500 AD. So the Norman conquest of 1066 marks the beginning of the Middle English period, which from 11th to 15th century. So the arrival of the Normans, who spoke Norman French, introduced a massive influx of French words into the English lexicon, significantly altering its vocabulary. This is when we are talking about that. When we are talking that English language borrowed from many other languages. These are one of the reasons. The arrival of the Normans, and when moving on, we have the grammatical structures also began to simplify as inflections were gradually lost. Middle English is perhaps best known through the works of Geoffrey Chaucer, whose Canterbury Tales offers a vivid glimpse into the language of the time. The most dominant influence on the Middle English vocabulary French, though Latin also contributed to a great deal. It was estimated that about 10,000 French words came into English in the 13th century. These words were mainly from law, from administration, from medicine, from art, fashion, science, and from science and learning. So now we'll be looking at the next phase of history of English language. We have the early modern English, which dated from the 1500 to 1800. So for that, we have for the early modern English period from 15th to 18th centuries, it witnessed further significant changes, including the Great Vowel Shift, a major pronunciation change that affected the sounds of long vowels. The Renaissance brought a renewed interest in classical languages like Latin and Greek, leading to the borrowing of many new words. This era also saw the standardization of English spelling and grammar, which is driven by the printing press and the rise of literary culture. It is this century that we have the introduction of printing press and literary structure, because the existence of printing press started urging people to write and to have more literary works. So now moving on, we have modern English. So the modern English dated from 1800 to date. So it is also known as contemporary English. Modern English, spanning from the 18th century to the present, represents a dynamic phase of linguistic evolution which is marked by standardization, globalization, and technological influence. The 18th century saw the codification of English with the publication of dictionaries and grammars that aimed to standardize spelling, grammar, and usage. This era also witnessed the rise of the British Empire, which spread English across the globe, leading to the development of various regional dialects and varieties such as American English, the Australian English, and the Indian English. So each with its unique vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammatical features. So these dialects and varieties of English language, they have their own unique vocabularies and pronunciation that differentiates them from other types of dialects. So in conclusion, it is important to know, we should know by now that language is a powerful tool that shapes our understanding of the world, and the English language is a prime example of its dynamic nature. With a rich history spanning centuries, English has evolved from its ancient Germanic roots to become a global lingua franca. And understanding the history and development of the English language also provides valuable insights into its grammar, syntax, and vocabulary. And this is to tell us that for the next module, we'll be looking at grammar in English language and the rules of grammar in English language. So, thank you.